Every person that gets into anime comes to a certain point where they make one of life's biggest mistakes. They stop keeping up with all the shows getting hyped up and decide to leave the comfort of the top anime lists on Mal to go on their own journey of finding shows that no one's talking about. This is an awful idea. Once the safety wheels come off and you dive into the deep end of Japanese animation, you come to the realization that most of this shit is garbage. If you do a little digging into upcoming seasonal shows or even just filter by tags, you'll see that for every good anime, there's at least 10 uninspired, regurgitated cash grab shows. The way I picture a new anime getting pitched is in a large room that smells like cigarettes, full of Japanese business executives drunk off their asses. When they're done throwing spare change at a dancing immigrant child, they pull up a popular show and then spin a wheel to determine what kind of wacky twist they're gonna put on it. What if we remade Sword Art Online, but with a MILF? And then that's how stuff like this gets made. The show I've got for you today might be a lot of things, but something it isn't is generic. The world's forever changed after a nuke goes off, destroying the environment and turning Japan into a post-apocalyptic crack den. A plague-like wind blows across the country, leaving rust on everything it touches, including humans. Some people have found a way to get rid of the rusting though, through mushroom spores. With this knowledge, a group known as the Mushroom Protectors set out across Japan, spreading the fungus and restoring the country back to a livable state. Now you'd think this group of people would be treated like heroes. I mean shit, they're doing a pretty selfless thing, going around potentially saving others from death. All I'm saying is, we're like one Vladimir Putin mental breakdown away from getting nuked, and if the world goes all Fallout 4, I'm not gonna be out here acting all considerate. I'm getting the strap and playing target practice with anyone I see. But the Mushroom Protectors aren't seen as heroes at all. Through the spread of misinformation, they're painted as terrorists. See, the mushrooms don't work instantaneously. It takes a while for the rusting to go away. So people see these heavily rusted cities covered in mushrooms and just assume that the protectors were the cause of the plague. The sad thing is, the misinformation bit's probably the most realistic part of the anime. Y'all remember 2 years ago when people were drinking bleach to cure COVID? Meanwhile, if you just get a tiny bit of that shit on your hand, it turns your skin to fucking soap? Yeah, good times. The lie about the mushrooms leads to them being outlawed, leaving people who know the truth to have to resort to smuggling them into their cities from the outside. Speaking of which, the viewer gets taken through a bunch of different settings. With the show being set in a post-apocalypse, you imagine a barren wasteland full of belligerent people wearing gas masks and rags. And you still definitely get that. The cities most heavily hit by the plague look grimy as shit, almost as if they're rotting, but you don't stay there for too long. The anime takes you through lush fields of grass, surrounded by animals who adapted to the rust, cities caked in snow, and even an entire town ran by only kids. Wait, what are you doing here? Hey, get the fuck out. Sorry, I slipped up and said the K word. Luckily, most of my viewers are over 18, right? The bomb might have changed everyone's lives, but it didn't stop them. We see humanity adapting to its new circumstances. There are traditional cities full of people wearing regular clothes, prostitutes selling ass, and even meth heads predicting the end of the world. You know, how things should be. Even under these fucked conditions, humans still strive for normalcy, and it's kinda nice. Our main character, Bisco, is one of the Mushroom Protectors. Because of his job of trying to de-rust the world, he's labeled a terrorist and has a bounty on his head. You can tell what kind of character he's gonna be just by seeing his design. Bisco's a hothead who deep down inside is soft. Pause. What I mean is that he's emotionally like 10 years old, snapping at people showing affection and lacking any form of self-awareness. The show plays with how much personality he has by pairing him up with a character who's his polar opposite. This blue-haired femboy is nothing like Bisco, over-emotional, sheltered, and optimistic. He hasn't gone through the pain of having to convince others that he's not a bad guy and only trying to save the world. You know, if you really think about it, the homie Bisco's kinda just been traveling the world and getting into Twitter arguments with all the characters, trying to change people's opinions on something on which they've already made their minds up. That kinda sounds like torture. On the topic of other characters, the show's home to a lot of interesting people. The state of the world's caused humans to not only fall into degeneracy and desperation, but also inspired others into heroism. On one hand, you've got serial killers taking advantage of people's hopelessness, and corrupt government officials doing shady shit to gain power, but on the other, there's parents risking their lives to keep their kids healthy, and people doing illegal shit to help others. Now you might be thinking, wow, that sounds like a pretty cool show. I wonder why no one's talking about it. Well, if you ask anyone who's seen it what they think about it, it's gonna be something along the lines of, it's weird as shit. Now, I don't know what kind of cock the author was smoking, but I guarantee you that a lot of people dropped the show within 3 episodes. It's kind of hard to build tension and establish characters when you've got a big ass CGI crab taking up half the scene that looks like it was taken out of a YouTube green screen video. Throw in a couple of other weird scenes and suddenly the show goes from, whoa, this is sick, to, oh, more weird shit, haha, that's pretty cool, why the fuck am I watching this? The show's ridiculousness ends up biting it in the ass and killing its potential. Now on to what I liked. The anime's intelligent. It plays around with common tropes and keeps you guessing. In a lot of shows, there's that moment where a character reaches out to an animal, touches it, and suddenly they're best friends. Yeah, try that shit in real life and your hand's getting a divorce from the rest of your body. The anime takes common little scenes like this and puts its own spin on them. Also, the characters actually have character. It's crazy, right? The viewer gets to see the results of them spending time with each other. The longer Bisco and Femboy talk, the more their personalities rub off on one another. The hothead calms down and matures a little, and the emotional baby grows some balls. There's actually a reason to keep watching. One of my favorite episodes was when the two went to the town ran by only kids. And it's not because I'm a Minecraft YouTuber, but because we get to see what happens when the two interact with carbon copies of themselves. Bisco even called the kid he was with annoying, not realizing he was just like him. It's the little things like this that make me think the show would have been a lot better if it didn't try so hard to be wild. Whoa, crazy, a fucking hippo with a machine gun. Once you get jaded to all the random stuff and realize that the average person from Texas looks like this, you leave wanting more from the anime. Rust Eater Bisco's a show that tries to do a lot of things and ends up shitting the bed and setting itself up for obscurity. When this show finishes airing, I guarantee you the only time it'll be brought up in conversation is when someone talks about how weird it was, which is a shame because some aspects of it shine through and make you think you're watching a better show than you actually are.